You actually cannot. Here we go. You should be able to hear us now. This is why we need to do a bit of a check before we actually start.
Hello, could you hear us before?
Hi. Now you should be able to hear us. We'll wait to see one yes and then we'll go ahead.
We're so professional.
We are so professional. There we go. All right, perfect. Wonderful. Yeah, we are very technical, so you know this is how we solve problems. Okay, so Freddy's here with us today, and he's going to talk about a lot of things about which involve marketing and social media, and best practices and all that kind of stuff. He's got a lot of it prepared, so I think we should just get started with that. And obviously, as we go, keep putting your questions in the chat or in the comments, and I'll keep putting them aside, and then we'll address them later on once the presentation is done, or maybe at the end of each section, depending on how we go. All right, cool. I think we're all good to get started. Do you want me to share it?
Yeah, go for it. So yeah, we're going to share my screen. I've done a little bit of a presentation, so you don't have to look at our faces. And we'll show you some examples of things we've done or things artists have done that have worked, and sort of things that we think are good, things to avoid. So hopefully with some real world examples, you'll find this slightly useful. Okay, so let's start. So obviously video has become the main thing you should be posting on social media, which for many years they've been saying, oh, video is the future, video is the future, but it really is happening now. And it's hard for us to make new videos all the time. So what we have been doing is trying to source them off artists when we either see them share something great, or we see an artist that we think will make a great video. So the example that we've got here, and it's just got 1 million views today, which is absolutely amazing. So this is the first video that we've ever shared that could be considered viral. And as you can see, it's got loads of reactions, loads of comments, loads of shares, and that is an organic reach there. So 2.7 million organic reach. We didn't even have to spend money to make this happen, which is crazy. So this video, which you probably have seen if you follow us on social media, is of a really great artist, Louise Numina. And she is actually someone I worked with in the Northern Territory. I used to work at a little art gallery. So I knew that she was amazing. So as soon as I saw that she'd signed up, I was really excited, reached out to her and said, do you have any videos? I'm sure it would do well. But I had no idea it would do this well. This was complete fluke, really. But let's start off just by looking at the video.
We need background music.
Yeah, we need Sarah laughing is what we need.
That's true. Sarah's in Perth, by the way. She should be back here tomorrow.
So I'm not sure if you've seen this video. It's a simple video, but what's so amazing about it is Louise's talent. Her speed is mesmerizing, and she's almost in a trance. The way she can just mix colors and just get it done so quickly. There is something, there's that quality that you can't really put your finger on, a magic to it. But as I said, this isn't even one of Louise's best videos. I've seen other ones of hers that she hasn't taken herself, where she uses about 10 different colors, and it's even more impressive. But people really love this video, and it's got us, thousands and thousands of people on site. Louise's page the last week since it went off has been the most trafficked page on the whole of Bluethumb. So it goes to show you the power of a good video. So let's just have a look at a few pointers, things that, the reason why video is working. So first of all, the number of views on Facebook a day, video views on Facebook is crazy, over 8 billion. And Facebook's algorithm, due to the success of video, now gives these more reach. So you're more likely to reach your whole audience. As you probably know, Facebook, especially for business pages, limits your reach, and then it's trying to encourage you to spend money on it. The beauty of video is it's easy to share. People like sharing videos, and it can set off a chain reaction.
Also keeps you engaged for more than a couple of seconds. I have Facebook users, they get more engaged with a video than a normal image.
Yeah, and something that's a bit surprising for us, you know, we never thought particularly that younger people were our audience, even though I am one of Bluethumb's biggest customers. I'm 30, how old am I now? 33. Yeah, and we do, you know, everyone on the Bluethumb team loves buying art, but younger people have never been our core demographic. But what we're finding with Facebook is it's actually cheaper for us to market to younger people, and they are buying art. So that's been one surprising find, especially since we've been sharing these videos. Videos should be optimized for the sound to be off. So most people, as I do when I'm in bed in the morning, because I don't want to wake my partner up, it's you watch with the sound off. So if you are making a video, consider that you know, don't just talk at the camera, or if you do talk at the camera, use subtitles. And Facebook actually has a very easy tool that will guess the subtitles, as our webinar has as well, which you can then go and edit. So yeah, always optimize for the sound off. Yeah, there's no magic formula to go viral. So I have been working for Bluethumb for over 4 years. I've been posting things on Facebook with many intentions to try and go viral, and it's never happened. And it finally happened this week. The interesting thing about this video is, as you can see, it was actually posted on the 17th of January, and it did really well. And then I actually pulled it into one of our paid campaigns, because you can do that if you have a business account, but I don't really want to go into that. What's interesting is that being pulled in there, it only spent a couple of dollars, and then it just took off. So by doing that, it did set it off again. But since then, you know, Facebook is very clever at how it optimizes its spend, and they haven't bothered to put any money on it because it's just been shared by the right people, and that that domino effect has happened. And then finally, you know, this is kind of obvious, and these days there's not really any excuse. Most people have a phone that has a really great HD camera, and you should format it for mobile, which means either use a square, or even better, like this video, do it the vertical screen, the whole sort of selfie screen. All right, moving on. Something that I think is a real opportunity for you guys, and I see you do it, is to collaborate with each other. So we do this with you too, in some respects, but we also do this with brands. So here you can see the lovely Sarah in our latest collaboration, which is going on this whole month with Merry People. And it's a very simple collaboration. They're giving $500 Bluethumb voucher to their customers, and we're giving a $500 Merry People voucher to ours. And this gives us lots of opportunities to talk about each other. So we've done a couple of posts on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We've also included it in our stories, and we've been including it in our newsletters as well. So pretty much everyone who is part of our audience and at all engaged will know about Merry People now. The great thing about Merry People, and obviously is always important when you're collaborating, is that our brands really can work together because they have a lot of the same beliefs. You know, we're both local Melbourne customers, businesses. Sorry, the dogs are going off and distracting us. Grungle and Batman are in the house. Yeah. Yes, and I think you've got to always, you know, you don't want to collaborate with the wrong people. So, you know, if there's artists you like, and you guys, there's one of the best things about Bluethumb is the artist community. I love it when we have meetups and you see all these relationships blossoming. And you know, we have seen it in the past where groups of artists have met and then they decide to do exhibitions together. But it can be a lot more simple on social media. You don't need to go to that extreme, I suppose. Yeah, so basically, by doing this, you'll grow your audience. You'll be exposed to another artist's followers. This also helps you beat the algorithm. So as we spoke about before, Facebook, not just for business accounts, but for personal accounts as well. And Instagram, unfortunately, you know, about a year ago or so, Instagram was just a timeline of your posts, and now they try and figure out what posts they think you like. So it's a nice way of supporting each other as well. So, you know, why not once a week just choose an artist that you love and post about them? Say, hey, have you seen this artist? They're so cool. Check them out.
Yeah, and actually, I've seen some of our artists do that quite often on Instagram.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's why I'm saying I see you guys doing it. I'm just, I'm not saying you're not doing it. things that you can do, obviously this will cost you a little bit, but things like competitions, as basically is what we're doing with Merry People. So you could offer an artwork, but it doesn't have to be a big one. It could be a postcard sized one. Sharing the court, I remember in the Facebook group had this really great treasure hunt idea. If you search for treasure hunt in the Facebook conversation, you'll see that. There's all sorts of things you can do. Just simply give and take shout outs. So, this is kind of how social media works anyway. Often if we post about an artist, they'll then post about us. You could message them first and tell them you're doing it, ask them if they'll reciprocate. You've got to be careful with how you word these kind of communications. You don't want to be too pushy. But yeah, it's a really great way of growing your audience. Stories as well, as you see we do with our stories. We often, if you tag us in your stories, we'll share them. You could be doing the same with other artists. And yeah, it's basically just a great networking opportunity. So an example of something that happened in the last couple of weeks. I don't know if you know Georgie Parker. To be honest, I'm from England and Shiraz is from India, so we didn't. But apparently she's Australia's sweetheart, and she's a home and away actress. But I just noticed that she was commenting on our posts, so I reached out to her and said, "Hey, it's great to see you're an art lover," and pretended I knew who she was. And she miraculously started messaging me back. And with a bit of back and forth, I helped her to post a little carousel on Instagram of all her favorite artists, and she didn't ask anything for it. So just by being nice, you can get people to do some really great things. And that post, it wasn't one of her most popular because, to be perfectly honest, she normally posts hot guys on the home and away set, which I don't blame, get a lot more likes. But yeah, it did get about 1,000 likes. It got us some traffic. Obviously, the artists that were featured were over the moon about it. So yeah, simple networking strategies can work well if you handle them delicately. Just as an example, I thought we could have a look at our collaboration story that we've got currently in our highlights with Merry People. So really nothing too groundbreaking here. It's always good to use movement in stories and to tag so that the people who you're talking about can share. Also, I really like to use the colors. So there's a little dropper tool and you can match the colors in the story. You can also try and contrast, that pink contrasts nicely in that picture. Movement again, using little GIFs. GIFs are great. Most importantly, it's the quality of the photos and just doing little stylish arrows and things. It can make it look a bit more professional. I don't think all your stories have to be super professional. We don't do it all the time, but when you're doing something important that you might want to put on your highlights, it's worth the extra effort. Yeah. Okay, the next one is about knowing your platform, which, yeah, this is kind of obvious, and I think we're all more used to it now, but still worth mentioning. So nobody's going to follow all your social media accounts if you just post the same thing on each of them, because it just gets annoying. So yeah, try and choose the right platform for the thing that you're sharing. It doesn't mean you can't share on both, especially with our videos, we often share on both, but perhaps not at the same time. Also, make sure you format the posts for the platform. So as we've mentioned before, really these days you want to be doing either square posts or vertical screen posts. If you do a landscape post, it just gets lost on the feed. Also, as you can see to the right, we've just got a little screenshot of our Instagram, and we use a tool called Later to curate our Instagram so we can see how our posts are going to look together. And we think about lots of things and we go through different phases, and sometimes it's a bit random. But we're often thinking about colors that contrast and look good together, or we'll go through maybe a row of colors that look nice, more oranges and reds or whatever. And it's not that easy to do, but you guys are artists, so I'm sure you'll know what you're doing. We're lucky that we've got great curators like Megan is absolutely excellent at doing this on our Instagram. Sarah's great at doing this in our newsletters. So, but I think you guys will be good at it too. But think about the overall look. You don't want your Instagram or even your Facebook to look unprofessional. Although saying that, Facebook is a better place to, because the feed sort of disappears and the way it's formatted, it's a better place to put things that aren't so visual. On Instagram, we use hashtags still, and it does expand your reach. It can look a bit spammy, and that's why we do the sort of ... to try and keep it out of the way. You know, when we hit 1 million likes or whatever, 1 million follows, maybe we won't use hashtags, but we still use them, and they do expand the reach. You know, we've experimented with not using them, and it didn't work, so we still do. Whereas on Facebook, hashtags look really weird and nobody really uses them. They do work, but as a general rule, and there is research in this, if you use a hashtag on Facebook, the post won't get as much reach, surprisingly. Also, as you can see here, test what works, but vary it. So as we sort of have set things that we want to post about. So the first picture here is, you know, an artist in a studio. Then we've got a nice Indigenous artwork. Then we've got the lovely Sarah and Shiraz and Grungle and Batman, the dream team. Then we've got a photograph. You know, we've got some art that's been sold to an office. So we try to vary it. And similarly, it's a bit different for us. And that's why we can't really have a completely cohesive look, because we represent so many artists that we need to represent that in our feed. But the beauty of being an artist is when you have your unique style, you can make your feed look even more branded, because it will have you know, similar styles, similar color palettes, things like that. But I guess the point here really is to you know, do shots of you in the studio, do short videos of you working, do time lapses, do art on walls. Don't just post the same kind of picture every day, because it just makes your feed look a bit boring. And finally, as I said before, we do sometimes, you know, especially if we've uploaded something to Instagram and it's doing well, we'll then just quickly post it to Facebook. But when we do this, which is called cross-posting, we will edit the caption so that it's formatted right for Facebook. So we'll get rid of the hashtags. We'll make sure that that it's tagged on Facebook, not an Instagram tag that isn't working on Facebook. So yeah, make sure you edit your post if you're cross-posting.
Yeah, I'll just say that with Instagram and Facebook, I personally feel like that the audiences and the way people engage with your posts on both the platforms is quite different. So Instagram obviously is way more visual. When people are scrolling through their feed, they would see the image first, and then they will see text, which is most of the time, if it's more than a couple of lines, it's cropped off a little bit. Whereas on Facebook, you mostly see the text first, and then you see the image or the link or whatever you've posted. So when you're posting, if you're posting the same stuff on both of those platforms, make sure the content is changed, as Freddy was saying, on both of them. So you engage the right style of customers in the right way. It really helps because if they see the same post on both the platforms, and it just becomes a little bit a bit redundant, that's all.
And now I've just clicked through to our Instagram. I'm not saying it's the best Instagram in the world, but I like it. And it certainly has a variety of posts, and I think it represents us as a company quite well. People love the posts about the team because people like to see what happens behind the scenes. And I think that's the same for artists. You know, people want to see a process. People want to know the work and the skill and the talent that goes behind your work.
Yeah, and Instagram, you'll see, I mean, this is something that's just for us, and Freddy would obviously know more about this, but everything that you see on Instagram is sort of curated from us. It has almost zero to almost none to zero influence from anyone outside. Like, you know, it's completely on what's on trend, and it's what we've planned, and the way we've curated our Instagram feed from beforehand, as Freddy was saying. So it's all planned, and it goes like way seldom do we have posts that sort of like come up instantly and we put them up immediately, but most of it is planned.
But it does happen sometimes.
Yeah, it does happen. It does happen.
So, you know, keep tagging us so that we see your posts, because we do look at them. And sorry if we don't always comment and we don't always like them, but yeah, there's a few of us that monitor it. Okay, this is obvious. I didn't know what to call it. Content. God knows what I'm talking about. But basically, yeah, content is king because that's what you're sharing. And think of yourself as a brand. So here we've got Joseph. I'm not sure how to say his surname, to be honest. Villanueva, is it? Yeah. And he has quickly become a bestseller on Bluethumb. And the key to his success, I think, is he's very, very good at branding himself. And he's got a very unique style with his art. And he's also really great at doing time-lapse videos. So, yeah, it's worth having a look. We'll have a look in a second at his... let's do it now. It's worth having a look at his Instagram feed. And actually, one of his videos completely went off recently. So it didn't go viral, but we've used it in our paid Facebook ad campaigns, and it's generated, you know, tens of thousands of dollars of sales. Not all for him, but it gets people interested in Bluethumb. They click through to the site, and then they end up buying. So yeah, as you can see, you know, just simple touches like the way he puts everything on a wall, the way he frames. He uses the same fonts. You know, it's got a style, it's got a look. I love the way that he uses Bluethumb boxes, especially. There's another Bluethumb box, looks great. No, he's an excellent artist, and I'm, you know, he works hard for his success, and he deserves it because he's really thought about how to market himself. And I'll just quickly show you the video that he posted. It's got 30,000 views. That's not bad at all. You know, that's decent. And you've probably seen this video. Oh, it's not going to load.
Probably more than once.
But what's great about this video, I'll just let it load a second, is it shows you this quite unique, I mean, it's not that unique, but it's his thing. He uses contrasting colors. He starts off with a base, covers it in very, very thick paint, and then scratches through, which I've never seen before. And it obviously captivates Facebook audiences because people click through, either buy his art or buy other art on Bluethumb. So let's just quickly watch the video. I don't think there's any sound on it. No, there's not.
There's something just about time-lapse videos that keeps you engaged a little bit. It's just like storytelling, but, you know, in a very short period of time. So you are almost bound to watch the whole video.
Yeah, like at this point now, you're like, well, where's this going?
I actually want to see how it ends up.
Yeah.
Like.
You can't tell right now because our internet connection isn't working that well, but this is actually a very HD video and very well done. So it's really worth thinking about quality when you do this because it really helps. And actually on Instagram, if you do try and boost a post on Instagram, you can't do it if it's a low quality video. They won't let you.
And talking about quality of videos, I know some of you guys are asking about this on the chat, and I've noted those down. But just quickly, like video quality, if you have an iPhone or an iPad or any sort of Android phone or any phone that was released in the last 3 or 4 years, the quality of video shouldn't be bad from that. Like it's sufficient quality.
All right, let's carry on and find out what else I wrote on this card. So yeah, your poster copy. This is a good one, actually. Sometimes, you know, I see excellent posts all over Facebook and Instagram, but also I see some that are just messy. They're just badly, you know, bad grammar. The image quality isn't good. It's just all hashtags or something very nonsensical. Yeah, you've really got to be thinking about I mean, if this is why you're using Instagram, you're marketing yourself. So yeah, so Shraz got something to say here.
No. I was just going to say, when you said your posts are copy, it sounded to me like your posts are copy.
No, as in copy as in, marketing speak. Sorry, as in, like, written for marketing purposes. Yeah. As we talked about with Joseph, anytime he pops up in my feed, without even looking, I know it's him straight away. It's like, oh, it's another Joseph video, or oh, this is Joseph's new work. And it's because of the way he presents himself. You know, he does have he uses lots of different colors, but that contrasting color thing that he does makes it very recognizable. And most artists can achieve this. If you look at, you know, so many people on Instagram, they have a similar sort of thing going on, and it's worth trying to replicate it. Find the right frequency of your posts. So sometimes, actually quite often, especially on our Twitter, I'll see artists post 30 things within the space of about 5 minutes. So they're just going through their profile, share, and it doesn't really work. What's better to do is post once or twice a day something really worth looking at, and not just, especially, you know, like the link posts that are auto-generated aren't necessarily the best kinds of posts. It can be better to post a short video or a photo of the whole artwork. Yeah, so we, mainly down to, you know, we're a small team, we post, generally speaking, once a day on both platforms. We've experimented with more. We used to do 2 a day. Other, you know, I see other sites, obviously we monitor this a lot, and I see other sort of design interior sites experiment with doing 1 an hour, and often they seem to go back to maybe just 1 or 2. But I you know, the general consensus is once or twice a day is enough.
Yeah. I'll just say just a tiny bit about the first point on this. Is this the last point?
No, there's more.
Oh, okay. Then I'll come back to when you're finished.
Okay. No, the last one is show us your magic, which I don't know what it means exactly, but that is the thing. It's the, what is it unique about you and your practice that you can show that will fascinate someone? Is it the way you mix colors? Is it, you know, a lot of people don't even know how thick paint is that you're using, or yeah, there's so many different things that you can do. So find that thing, and that's what Joseph's done. He's found his little niche where people, you know, the scratching thing is really compelling to watch.
What was going to talk about, it sort of like ties up nicely between you are a brand and show us your magic. And I think this point is something that we talk about quite often, is when you are marketing yourself, you should really not be marketing a product. You shouldn't be marketing a painting. You shouldn't be marketing the piece that you've just done. Rather, you should be just taking the next step in building your brand, and always keeping that in mind. That will help you in being consistent. It will help you in being uniform with the way you put out things. Joseph's example is a really good one. So when you scroll down his Instagram feed, or even on his Bluethumb profile, when you actually just scroll down, you'll see that all the things, all the posts and all the artworks seem connected to each other. And that's a really good way of doing it. When you are putting new posts on any of the platforms, just keep that in mind, that you are the brand. Your practice is the brand, and what you're putting up now, your new work, it's just the next step. It's a product. I was going to say something else as well, and it has slipped my mind.
It's obviously not just a product. It's a beautiful, amazing piece of art as well.
No, exactly. No, I'm talking about, like, in terms of seeing these two things as two completely different things, and just sort of like keeping that in your mind. So when you are actually composing a post on any of the platforms, if you have that in mind, you'll sort of structure it accordingly.
Yeah.
And it's really important in that way.
Well, and you know, in a similar vein, you are the product as well. Yeah. People are interested in you and your life.
Yeah. Sorry. What Freddy was saying about for every artist, finding that one thing that is your magic. It can be anything. It can be, you know, the way, what kind of texture your painting has, what kind of style you use, or it could be a signature style that you use in your studio, or, you know, anything that sort of makes you stand out and makes it easy for anyone who's seen your art or your practice before to recognize you from your social posts or from anything that you do. So it's just finding that sort of identifying factor for you, and it could be anything. It doesn't have to just be your painting or your artwork or your style. It could be anything that you do. So just sort of like try to find that and, you know, go with it.
Okay, the next one is an interesting one, because we're not often early adopters of anything, to be honest. Like it takes us a while. Like with video, it's taken us a while, and it's just being a small team. It's hard to, you know, especially with video, it's hard to produce a lot of video. I mean, we're lucky. We do have an amazing videographer and photographer, Megan, who puts together our videos. But yeah, that's a fairly recent, you know, as in the last year and a half that we've had Megan, and we've experimented with videos a lot. And yeah, the interesting thing is that often longer format videos don't work. But now there are different ways of presenting your videos. So one thing you can do, and this is a good way of showing the behind the scenes look at your work and your life, are Insta stories, obviously. So I really think, and it took us a while, but Instagram stories are just as important as your normal posts, because it keeps you engaged, and it brings people back to your profile. And ever since we've been using it, it's really worked. We get a lot more people coming to us from Instagram than we ever used to. And it can be as simple as, doing those, sharing other people's work, sharing your own work, just putting up images. But you can also, just a little, I don't know if you know what a boomerang is, which kind of goes to this point, a little bit of movement really helps. So boomerangs are those little loops that sort of go backwards and forwards. Shiraz absolutely hates them, but we sometimes make him do a boomerang with us. But yeah, check out our highlights section about the fresh art one, where it's basically the Bluethumb team opening art, and we use boomerangs a lot.
Against my advice.
Yeah. So going back to the point before, tag to be shared. So if you tag us in it, obviously we'll share it. Also with that point though, if you tag other art platforms on it, we're not going to share it, because then we'd be promoting them, and yeah, to be honest, we're not going to do that. Also, another great thing about stories is you can do things like polls. So you can do what color should I paint this, or what should I paint today, and then you can also add links to them. So whereas with Instagram, it can be quite difficult to get links from your posts to your Bluethumb profile, you can put links in the stories at the bottom. So always link, and people can just swipe up and get to your art. Also, there's kind of, I talked about it. I'll show you a couple of slides from another video that I put a bit of time into, not video, story that I put a bit of time into, but there are kind of design conventions on Instagram now, and you don't have to go with them, but they work quite well. So let's just open this story, and I'll kind of talk you through it a little bit. So this is the one about my house, and again, you can see that at the top, we've matched the color with the house. Here, this is a silly poll, but take the tour. I can't do it right now, but you can swipe that across, and then a dog head floats up across the screen. It's slightly interactive. The orange at the top matches the orange on the wall. Typewriter type looks kind of clean and professional. Lots of kind of cool design. People use it. We didn't make any of these up. We're just copying other we're the best, obviously. Yeah, moving on. Anyway, also here you can see that I've tagged loads of people so that they can, these are all the places that I've bought art from, or artists I bought art from, and even like furniture shops that I've shopped at, and people shared it, so it increases the reach. Again, tagging all the artists, using a hashtag that's very, well used, free the nipple, and there's even little monkeys over the nipples, because Instagram often, especially with us, censors us for nudity. Some artists get away with it, but we certainly don't. Here, can you spot the TV? Yes, no, a little poll. Amazingly, a lot of people couldn't spot the TV. It's actually in the middle. There's a photo by Megan on the TV, but the TV disguises itself as a frame. Yeah. Anyway, I think you get the idea. But just a little bit of thought, a little bit of interactivity. Is that a word? Interaction. Yeah. Oh, actually, and one bit at the end that I do quite like. Talking about movement, and you can do very simple things. Instagram has really great tools that allow you to do things like this. Oh, it's not doing it very well. Let's go back and go forwards again. But yeah, you can do little time lapses. So it's a really simple thing. You could just do that with your paints or whatever, or even your, you don't necessarily, anyway, you can have fun with the tools on Instagram. There's boomerang, there's time lapse, there's slow motion. There's zoom in, you know, there's things you can do that just make your videos fun, and they've become well-known conventions, so people enjoy them. Also, I tagged Converse hoping they might share, but they didn't. All right, carrying on. Instagram TV. So this is where I'm talking about longer formats. So Instagram TV is still not widely used, to be honest, but I'm seeing loads of artists using it, and artists are using it really well. And I think artists are great for Instagram TV. So I'm saying it's ripe for the picking, because it's still, even now, you'd still be an early adopter if you're using it. Not that many people are using it. And why it's good for artists is there's a current trend for slow TV. I don't know if you've seen this, but you can watch like the Ghan train go across the whole of the country and watch it for like 24 hours on SBS. I often do. I don't.
That's what we do at work.
Yeah. But what would be great for you guys is you could start a live Instagram TV feed of you painting an artwork. Why not just have, I mean, obviously you've got to think about it and not say anything rude, which is why we don't do it in our office. But just leave it on for the day, do a slow TV broadcast of you painting an artwork from start to finish. You know, that would be awesome. Or not even start to finish, just the session that you have in the studio. We'd also love to approach some artists about doing this. So if any of you are interested, let us know. And again, obvious one, but this is has to be a vertical screen, because that's the point of it. So Megan has reformatted a lot of the awesome interviews that she did, and they're a much better fit for Instagram TV because, you know, see this one here, it's 4 minutes long. So on Instagram, firstly, you can only do a minute-long video. On Facebook, if you see a 4-minute video, no one wants to watch it. People want to watch 30 seconds or so. If it's 4 minutes, people are straight away like, oh, I can't be bothered, and just carry on.
Fast.
So I'll just quickly show you what our Instagram TV channel looks like. So you can see up here, we have Instagram TV, and then we've got all these lovely videos that Megan's been going through, reformatting. And let's just watch a few seconds of Paul McKnight's one. Is there sound? Oh yeah. Oh no.
Southwest New South Wales, in a rural area.
I don't know what's going on. I'm going to stop that. Have a look. Have a look. Oh, tech stuff. Great. All right, and then this is the last screen. You'll be happy to know. So yeah, find out what works for you, basically. So here we've got a picture of Grungle. Grungle is our office dog, and actually my dog. So I'm a bit biased to Grungle and put him in a lot of our marketing communications.
He's the original artist.
Yeah, he's the original office dog.
A lot of dogs have come after Grungle,
yeah,
but he's the original.
On a good day, we have 6 or 7 dogs in our office. At the moment, we have 2 with us right now who will come and say hello when we get off here. But yeah, so these are things that we have talked about, but it might work for you, it might not work for you. You know, does tagging lots of other people on your posts, does it work for you? You know, I showed you an example where it worked for us, because I tagged a load of people that weren't in competition with each other. So multiple people shared it. Whereas if you tag 4 different online galleries, perhaps no one's going to share it.
Yeah, it's the difference of like for example, in Freddy's photo, he tagged, different, one person is where he got the furniture from, one person is an artist, one person is a framer, so they don't have, conflict of any sort. What is it at that point? Conflict of interest.
Yeah.
They don't have conflicts of interest. But if you are sharing something and you, different selling platforms or different galleries who obviously compete with each other, so it might not be the best thing to tag all of them in the same post. So you have to, and we're not saying don't do it. It might work for you, it might not. So you have to find out that if it works for you or not. We'll go through all the questions.
yeah. Sorry, I was just looking at the questions, thinking. Sponsoring posts. This is an interesting one because we do see artists ask this quite a lot, and it's a whole other, series of courses. I don't know how well set up you guys are, whether you have business Facebook accounts or what. So I don't want to go too much into it. But as a general rule, sponsoring posts, if you are going to do it, you should sponsor and not just go for engagement. You don't want people just to like your posts. What you want you want to get people that are actually likely to buy. So yeah, and also you want to target your audience. You want to be targeting people that are in Australia and you know, have an interest in your art or blah blah blah. I don't want to go into it too much. Personally, I don't think sponsoring posts is that worthwhile. We do pull our posts into paid campaigns, but it's not exactly sponsoring a post. Saying that, by sponsoring a post, we did get that video moving again, that first video we showed you, and it did go viral. So it's a kind of test it, don't worry about it too much if it doesn't work. The great thing about Bluethumb is we have absolutely incredible dynamic product ads. So if you get anyone onto Bluethumb, they look at your art, they will start seeing ads all over the internet. You know, it is a little bit stalkerish, but it works.
So I got a call this morning from someone who just like randomly called me to say, "Can I stop seeing your ads?"
Yeah, it happens.
That was funny.
Yeah, but hey, at least people are seeing your art. So this is linking versus Linktree. So this is an Instagram thing.
Yeah. I'll talk a little bit about this. Is we are actually doing a bit of research on this. Just, you know, getting a lot of information on what's actually working from two different points of views. One is the collective point of view, when people actually go to a particular page or a profile or an Instagram profile or whatever, and you know, if you have multiple call to actions, as we call it, so you have different links for them to go. So they're basically different options or different routes that they can take for the same product, and how that affects decision making. So what we really want to test is, does it work better if you have one link for them to follow and complete a purchase, or if you have 10 different links for them to be able to go through to get the same product, and they have to choose out of those 10 products? It's just a matter of should you give them more options or should you give them less options, kind of thing. Yeah. So it'll be very interesting when we actually get to the bottom of this.
Well, and if you have any feedback to us, what do you find works? Let us know. You know, with the example that we showed you before of the well-branded Instagram, Joseph's account, he only has the Bluethumb link, and it does make the decision process a lot simpler. Obviously, we sound like we're just totally trying to make you just have a Bluethumb link, which we are, but but it's actually true.
It is true for Joseph, so it works for him. Again, like, it comes down to if it works for you or not. And we'd really like to get to the end of the data that we're collecting, so we can actually have something that can back what we're saying as well.
This is an interesting one, and you can have both, but you know, personality versus professionalism. So some people do well on Instagram by sharing their personal life, and I see artists do it. You know, they do lots of posts of dogs, as do we. Lots of posts of their kids. You know, their kids in the studio with them, things like that. Other artists do really well just by having an Instagram that looks like a catalog, basically. So it doesn't mean you can't do both, and you can switch between them. But again, find out what works for you. What do people engage with? You know, we often find that the less, I mean, we'll always do polished, you know, we'll always try and do good photography. But often the more sort of, I hate using the word, but the more authentic posts do the best. So yeah,
it nicely loops in to what you guys were chatting on the chat a few minutes ago. I think Sarah Walker was talking about you know, being either professional or you know, being a bit more sort of personal in a way, and you know, being a bit more quirky, and you know, having a sense of humor, and all this. If it's your thing, if you're doing it consistently, if you're actually performing well with it, run with it. Like, it's the thing, like, that can be your thing. Your thing can be anything.
Yeah, well,
so,
and you can be both as well.
Yeah.
But it's just testing it. That's all. Yeah.
It's just something that people can sort of identify you with, and you know, if it's sort of that fits in well with your character, run with it.
So this is an interesting one as well. It's similar to the linking versus Linktree, but what works for you? Does having your own website and Bluethumb and other online art galleries work, or has it made your sales stronger just by having one? We have had feedback on both of these. We have artists that have given up all their other platforms, given up their websites, and have become bestsellers on Bluethumb. So that's great feedback for us.
Yeah.
We see that there are other artists that have very successful Instagram accounts, multiple galleries, and do very well that way. So again, it's just finding out what works for you.
Yeah, and again, it ties up with what I was saying before about linking versus Linktree, is just the amount of options. Because as a collector, I have one goal of getting to the end of purchasing this product, and it doesn't help me if I have 10 different ways of going to it, or does it help me if I have one way of going at it? Also, like factors like confidence from the artists gets involved as well. And what I mean by that, if the artist is giving the buyer 10 different options to purchase that same particular painting, the buyer wouldn't know which one do you prefer, or like, you know, which of these options has your vote of confidence. And if there's only one that sort of answers that question, like all these factors tie in. So it's a matter of I mean, we are doing this on our end, but you need to do this on your end as well to find what actually is working for you, which of these two methods are working for you, and if which particular platform is working for you, and all that kind of stuff. Like we wouldn't say do it all with Bluethumb, because Bluethumb is a platform, it's a service, we are your sales partners, and it might not work for everyone equally. So, you know, try and see what works for you and go accordingly.
So this is an important one, dogs versus cats. So we find dogs work a lot better for us. I have tried posting about my cat a few times.
We did try to bring in a few cats in the office, but that didn't go well.
So let us know. And yeah, finally, this is what I just wanted to finish on, is share your success. So if you have a video that does awesome, let us know. Let us share it too. Or if you have any tips, you know, go into the artist group and say, hey, I tried this. It really worked for me. Look at this video. You know, we're all, this community that we've built in our artist group and with these webinars, it's all about sharing and how to achieve success. So please share your successes with us. And that's the end of the presentation. Oh, actually, let's just watch the Grungle video. It's cute. So this is a video that we tried really hard to go viral, and it didn't.
Let's not go live with the dogs.
Oh, the dogs are about to fight as well, just to add to the excitement. So yeah, it got about it got 145 shares, 50,000 views, but we sponsored it a lot. You know, it had a find your perfect match, and we did a curation and a search on our website, and it worked a bit, but you know, it didn't go viral. But it was very impressive how Grungle managed to move, and Megan used her expertise to make it look like he was using the computer. And now let's cut to the dogs.
Wait,
come on, doggies.
You can actually.
Here's Grungle.
Wait. I hope they can actually see with the camera now. And not yet. Oh, there we go.
So this is Grungle. Get Batman up.
Come here.
So these two have become best friends very quickly, and they help a lot with our social media.
I'll try to not show you Batman's eyes.
All right, so shall we?
We'll just get to the questions.
Yeah.
And then we should put the dogs down and then get to the questions.
Yeah, I think we let them out of the room because they're getting a bit antsy.
Right. I've been noting your questions down on the side, so we'll just probably go back to all of them and answer them. Cool. I think most of them were related to what you were talking about, Freddy, anyway. So you might be able to answer.
Yeah, of course.
So Maria was asking about the Luis Nomina video, the views that were there. Were they only on Facebook?
The ones recorded on Facebook, yeah. So we have it on our Instagram as well, and it's got just under 20,000 views. And again, that was mostly organic. I put a little bit of, I don't really like doing sponsored posts on Instagram, to be honest. There's not much control over it. So I did put a little bit of money on it, only like $30 for a week or something. And yeah, it carried on doing well. But yeah, so far there's been, and a view, you know, you've got to take it. A view basically means it's been watched, I think, for more than 3 seconds. So it stopped someone in their tracks. The interesting thing about that video, and with a lot of our videos, there are some other great examples. Please go to our Facebook page and have a look. There's a really nice one from Tetiana Kaitko, very imaginative video where she shows you sketches and then shows you the finished painting. So that just shows a little bit of the process. And there could almost have been another step in between that, you know. And another great one from Katie Wyatt, just a straightforward time lapse, but again, just shows her incredible speed and her incredible eye and just what she does. And that we've used that in our paid ads, and that's worked as well. So please have a look at what we've been sharing to give you ideas. And if you do make a video, feel free to reach out to me and send it to me. So my email is Freddy with a Y, Freddy @bluethumb.com.au. I'd love to see your videos.
That actually answers the second question as well. So sorry, I forgot who actually asked this. The question was, what do you want us to tag to get your attention when we've done a video? So you can send it to Freddy.
Yeah.
I'll just post that email on the chat as well, but it's FREDDY @bluethumb.com.au.
Yeah, and obviously I can't guarantee we'll share everything because I don't know exactly what I'm looking for, but yeah, please do share. And if you stick to the sort of the right formatting, HD, showing something cool, I'm sure at some point we will share it.
Yeah. Also, it sort of brings to light a question that Peter had asked, which said, if we show our magic, is that not giving away our secrets and processes? Look, this is something that different artists approach differently. If you have a very secret process that you use to get to that particular end, then maybe not show that part. But again, like it's very subjective. The point of the whole process is to engage people into the backstory of what you've done. It just gives them more reason to connect with things, and just sort of like it's more about just not showing them a finished product or finished image or an artwork or a photo, but also sort of like they get involved with the process. So that's the point. So you can edit.
And this is a video we haven't shared yet, but Marin Kapanam, she does paintings, but she also does hand pressed lino prints. Yeah. And just a video of her lifting the piece of paper off the lino print, that's kind of magic. People often don't realize that prints, that kind of print is a physical process. It's not a digital thing. But I agree with what Shiraz said. And it depends on the artist, doesn't it? The Louise Numina video, you can see how fast she is, and you look at it and you think, wow, I could never do that. Yeah. Whereas if you're, I don't know, I'm conflicted about it. It depends what the process is, I guess.
And I remember that there was a discussion about this on the group as well, where about the time-lapse videos, and the point was, should I post a time-lapse video because it only took me a couple of hours to finish this painting, and would that give people the idea that it's not worth much, or it's not complicated enough? I don't think that, most of the people who even remotely understand art, it's not about how long it took to create something. Rather, it's what's important is how long has it taken for you to come to a point where you can finish a painting within 2 hours of a painting of that kind of caliber. So I think that's the point. And we were discussing it about Louise Numina's artworks, and when we were talking about it generally a couple of days ago anyway. So I think that is also important. That is a good point of view to see that it's not about how long did it take you to do this particular piece, but how long has it taken for you to come here. So now that you can do it in 2 hours or whatever.
Exactly. Anyway. And sometimes things that are, seemingly quite simple, to most people they're not. Most people can't pick the colors, most people can't draw a straight line. So there's another question. I didn't copy names, sorry. I probably should have. I'll go back and try to find these questions. The question is, hi, my question is, I've given up on FB and I'm now only using Instagram. Do you think that is advisable? That's an interesting question. I think Instagram is a really great place for discovery. For us, it doesn't convert, or it's harder for us to follow the sales being attributed to Instagram. Because often people will find people on Instagram and then come back later, and maybe they'll, there's more steps in the process. Whereas we find with Facebook, it can be a bit more direct. But I'm talking more from we spend money on Facebook. We spend a lot of money on Facebook. So it's rare for us what happened with the Louise video, where something goes off organically and brings a lot of traffic in. Facebook, historically has been a slightly older audience, which again, historically for us has been better. But it does feel like the demographic of people who buy art is getting younger. And, you know, I've only worked for Bluethumb 4 years, maybe. And it's changed in that 4 years a lot. And even, you know, just watching my friends have started to buy art. And whereas before you go to a show and people would be like, I'm not paying $250 for an artwork. Now people do it, you know, and people used to think I was crazy. I'd be like, oh yeah, this was a bargain. This was only $1,000 or whatever. Because I look at it and I think, wow, look at how much work went into that. That would be weeks of work. Yeah, so it's changing. But historically, Instagram was a younger crowd. Facebook was an older crowd. But I think that's changed. I feel like Instagram has got just as many, you know, I hate using the word younger and older, but, you know.
Not as much younger.
Not as young people, yeah. So I personally, if you've got the time, I would continue doing both. But at the same time, a lot of, especially artists and designers, do just use Instagram. So if you're only going to use one, probably use Instagram, because for an artist, it's probably a better discovery tool.
Yeah. I think this next question is a bit technical, and it's for you as well. Jane is asking, what are your thoughts on using Pic Splitter to split up a full painting into 9 posts on Instagram? So like when you look at your feed, it shows those 9 pieces.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know the app necessarily, but it's large on you. So the paint. Oh, okay, yeah. So that would turn it into like a full vertical screen with 9 pictures. Yeah. I'd say experiment with it. See if people see if it resonates. See if you get a lot of engagement. By the sounds of it, it sounds like a good app to fit the screen.
Yeah.
And showing multiple images can work. We've done it a few times, but we don't often do it. It's great if you've done a series of work, especially. So sometimes with artists, we've done that. I do quite like on Facebook the way you can do a gallery, and you can sort of think about, you know, which one is going to be portrait, and then there'll be 3, or you can have it landscape, and there'll be 3 underneath. Yeah, anything that fills the screen is probably a good thing.
Sarah Walker asked, and I think we kind of addressed this question. Sarah Walker asked, what happens if your social media style is not serious? My posts are quirky, but it matches my painting. I check my grammar and spelling, so that's fine. Is that part of my magic then, or detrimental?
And I think that's probably your magic. And I think that's what, we said the word magic way too many times. I think that's what, you're showing your personality. And if that's what you want to do, that's what your followers are following you for, keep on doing it.
Yeah. I'm trying to find other questions. Oh, Maria also mentioned that you have to have at least 10K followers to be able to add links to stories.
Oh, really?
I did not know.
I didn't know that either. Sorry, we have.
So that was pretty elitist.
Yeah.
Well,
it took us a long time. It took us a long, long time. It was only about a year ago that we got 10,000. Yeah. So,
but yeah, do all the other things that we said, and you'll probably have 10,000 followers in no time. A lot of artists don't actually know what IGTV was. I'm glad we talked about it. Eve Sellers said, I'd love to be involved in IGTV, slow, but wouldn't people be bored watching me dab and daub at the canvas for hours?
I think that's exactly the point. So people love to just switch off and watch something.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe you'll get really weird people watching, but people will dip in, dip out throughout the day if they're interested. And yeah, we haven't done it, so we don't know if it works, but it's a real thing at the moment. I went to this big breakfast at some skyscraper in the city, but run by Ogilvy. I think they've changed their name now, but anyway, one of the biggest marketing agencies in the world. And their whole they had sort of 7 trends of 2019, you know, these kinds of things, and one of them was slow TV. So I would love to try it, but I just need to find an artist. And Eve, you're in Melbourne, so let's do it.
I think another thing about IGTV and the slow TV is, I mean, this is something that I've felt personally, is like when you're on Instagram and, you know, you've gone there for the second time in a day, and then it shows you that you're all caught up. It's pretty disappointing that I don't follow enough people to see any more engaging stuff. And then at the end of it, then I go through all the stories if I have time. And if I have time to spend on Instagram, then I'll go through that. So maybe IGTV, the slow TV is because of that. Like when you're still engaged with the app, but you have nothing to actually see in your feed, then you go through those videos and watch them.
But you also don't have to. You don't have to do slow TV. You can just do a 2-3 minute or even just a minute clip. It's just for slightly longer because the feed will cut you down to a minute.
Matt Hughes is asking about any update for Bluethumb photography integration. Matt, we sent out an email to all our photographers last week. Melissa sent out an email, and there is an update. So all the information should be on that email. If you haven't, just let us know here or just send an email to help, and I'll forward a copy of that to you. Cool. Does time of day make a big difference in post engagement?
This is an interesting one. And
ask Nicola Coatman.
Yeah, we do tend to post around just before or at kind of rush hour, because you sort of capture people on the train, and that's many people will be going home from work looking at their phone. But saying that, sometimes, like before the Louise Numner video, there was another short video by one of the artists at our art centres that wasn't particularly spectacular. It was an artist doing dots on a dot painting, and it wasn't particularly technical or anything like that, but the artwork that was there did look amazing. The colours were beautiful, and we posted that on a Sunday evening, and that did really well. We experiment all the time, so you'll probably notice within a week we'll just do one at 8 in the morning or something, and just see how it goes. So like everything, I'd say experiment. You can look in, depending on how your Facebook set up, but you should be able to look in your Facebook if you're set up as a business page, and you can see the time of day where most of your followers are online. And it's kind of obvious, really. Like most people are more online after work and in the evening. And there's normally a peak at about 9 o'clock, and then it goes down. There's so many blogs and reports and analysis on the best time of day to post, but I think the truth is there isn't really a best time of day.
I think also, like, when it comes about when are your followers online most, just like common sense sort of gives you a very good answer as well. Like most of your followers, when they're on their way to work, if they're using public transport or something, they will be just online just before 9, or between 8 and 9, and then they will be on their lunch breaks, and then after 5 when they're on their way back, and then in the evening when they've reached home, had dinner, kind of stuff. So like just sort of
the cycle of the day, basically. Exactly. I mean, we wouldn't post at like 10 o'clock. We probably wouldn't post. Oh, we might post a bit early in the afternoon. I don't know. And also sometimes people say post in the middle of the night because no one else is doing it. You'll get all the people at the who are online in the middle of the night, but that's never worked for us. We've tried it.
It might work for you, so give it a go and try and see how it goes.
I mean, that's the beauty of it. If you're posting regularly on social media, you have 1 or 2 times to experiment a day, and if it doesn't go well or you're not happy with what's there, you can just delete it. So yeah.
Cool. Karen Collins asking, would you recommend placing in posts something like all paintings for sale, or DM for more info, or similar, or would it be too salesy?
This is a good question, actually. I feel like it's hard to say now because the algorithm changes and changes, and our reach has got smaller and smaller and smaller, and you sort of have to game it more now. But back when we used to get a better reach, anytime I mentioned a price, this is why we don't put prices or sale or anything like that, it would just be a dead post. So personally, I wouldn't, but it depends. Maybe more on Instagram, you could say DM if you're interested, kind of thing. Generally speaking, we don't put prices or anything on our posts. Other people do. It's an interesting question.
I think from a sales point of view, we just strongly believe that you have to let the interested potential collector think that it's their idea to either look into buying this or not. If you ask them, or if it sounds too salesy as you asked, it might just sort of deter them a little bit. But again, that's something that changes based on experience. So if it works for you, try it with a few posts and see how the engagement was, and come to your conclusion.
But I do agree with what Shiraz just said. Coming from a different perspective, which is kind of hard for us because we're involved in selling art and social media. But when I'm looking at Instagram and I find an artwork or an artist that I like, I normally assume that the artwork's for sale, and I will message them if I want to ask about, are they, either putting it on Bluethumb, are they going to join Bluethumb, or just are they selling it? So yeah, I don't think it's that important, but you can.
Philip's saying, can't we just sell our paintings in Bluethumb? You definitely can, Philip. I think I might have missed the context of that comment, but I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. That's what we would recommend.
Carmen's asking, what is an app that you can load as background for your paintings on Bluethumb, Lounge Room, etc.? Carmen, if you're on the Facebook group, you should. I'm pretty sure there are a few different posts, and a lot of other artists have mentioned different products. So you can just browse through there. I think that will be pretty
cool. And so I don't know if you will realize this, but it's really easy. There's a search just sort of down on the left-hand side on the artist group. I do it all the time. You can just search for posts or comments, and if you put a subject in, it will often come up. So yeah, I mean, we're always looking at the artist group to see what artists are thinking. So if there's something that we're talking about, thinking about, I'll often have a quick look in there and see if any artists, asked a question about it, got any feedback about it.
Yeah,
and you can do the same.
Jel is asking, how long before I can search for a particular photographer? Not long. Finally, I can actually say, to give you an idea of, you won't believe how happy it makes us that this is finally happening. If I have to give you an idea of time, I would say 4 to 6 weeks. Although Jen did answer that with 2 hours plus 40 years, so you never know. No, it will be between 4 to 6 weeks. Is looking at the product map that I've seen so far. So it could be less than that. Lisa saying, I find FB for me is more local audience and my following is more friends of friends. I have sold a few directly through there, so I felt it is still worthwhile and reaches a different audience. Cool.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, Lisa.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, you will get a different audience on Facebook and Instagram, and especially if you're doing it right, you want to create different audiences and attract different people.
Cool. Ken's asking, does placing a hashtag in your profile description do anything?
On Instagram, it does, yeah. So on, maybe not on mobile, but if anyone's looking at Instagram online, which I don't know if I'm the only person that does that, but yeah, on if you tag and hashtag and people looking at Instagram on laptop, in your browser, those hashtags and handles do click through to the hashtag. So yeah.
Cool. We are getting to the end of it. I'll address Fiona's question about an update on the dashboard. Fiona, I'll just get through the comments and the questions here about marketing and Instagram and everything, and at the end I'll address the dashboard as well. Lynette King is asking, are we any closer to allowing wall hanging 3D work to be sold on Bluethumb, etc. I hand painted hollow back lightweight wall mounted mannequins. Lynette, with 3D works and sort of they fall into sculpture category, we are not actively selling them at this point. It mostly is because we are restricted a little bit when it comes to the logistics and what we can cover and what we can protect them from. Like I'm talking about insurance and all those kind of things. So the way we are set up for 2D artworks and canvases and prints and all that kind of stuff. With sculptures, it opens up a completely new dimension of logistics, which we haven't gone into yet. So we can't actually be like in the next, I would say 6 months, we don't have any plans of expanding into it.
But at the same time, we do it on a case-by-case basis if it's easy to ship. So
yeah,
perhaps send us an email, show us some photos, and we can make a judgment call that way.
Yeah, we do have an art center who has
some 3D works.
Some 3D works.
But they're the art center works are all quite easy to ship because they're kind of grass sculptures, so easy to pack into a box. Yeah, so you might see a little bit of sculpture on Bluethumb, but as you can see, we don't have a category for it. We don't generally accept it. But, reach out.
Peter Hancock's asking, do you think YouTube videos or a YouTube channel linked to Bluethumb works to get more exposure?
Yeah, sure. Why not? We have a YouTube channel, as you know, because we're on it. You know, any platform, if you've got the time for it, works. So if you're making videos for Facebook, why not put them on YouTube? And I've been thinking the same about the ones we've been sharing. We've kind of kept our YouTube quite slick, other than these webinars.
Shabby little vibe. Nice.
But you know, mainly it's Megan's very beautifully edited videos on ours. But I'm thinking about maybe starting to post some of these more sort of viral videos and see what happens.
Yeah, cool. We've reached the end of the questions. I'll just address the dashboard issue that Fiona and Robin mentioned. So with the dashboard, I'm assuming you guys are talking about the follower count, and you must have received the message from Melissa yesterday as well. So what had happened when the dashboard changed was not the dashboard change, but before that, what happened was the way we counted your followers. When people unfollowed you, that number wasn't updated on your profile. So if you had 100 followers and someone unfollowed you, it didn't go back to 99, it stayed at 100. With the dashboard changed, we changed the code and the way it worked in the backend changed as well. So that's why the number came. There was a miscommunication about that from our side, from internally from to us or about those numbers. And it has now been updated for it to be live. So it's initially, it used to take almost a week for those numbers to get updated in terms of followers and stuff and unfollows. But now it's pretty live. So when people follow you and when people unfollow you, it will be updated pretty quickly. The number of followers that you would have seen drop, it's a collective number of at least 2 to 3 years. So if your numbers have gone down, say, for example, by 40 followers, that means 40 people unfollowed you over a period of 2 to 3 years, which is about 1 follower, or 1 or 2 follower per month. So it's not a huge number, but it has come out as in one shot. So it has come out as a bit of a shock, which shouldn't have happened that way. It should have been updating live all throughout, which hadn't happened. But now it's updating live and as it goes. So the numbers that you see now are active and they're true. So when people follow you, it increases. When people unfollow you, it reduces. Views are, Fina's asking, not just the followers, views are way down and there are dead spots where nothing appears to be counted from time to time. So I'm thinking a lot of work is still being done. A lot of work is being done, Fiona, not just on the dashboard, the way we are collecting the data, because in a lot of different ways, like you've already seen impressions. We weren't collecting that prior to, I think, December 2008. So we're connecting a lot more types of data that we can report to you. So a lot of work is being done in the dashboard, in the profile. The way your My Art section looks is changing as well. The way you reorder your artworks, the way you put artworks on hold, the way you upload, the way you delete, a lot of things are changing. So a lot of work is going in the background. In terms of dead spot, early last week, we had an issue about when the day, so when the timing was changing from today to tomorrow, like in one day, first day to the next. That has been fixed. But in terms of dead spots of views, if you're talking about, if you can send, maybe send help or Melissa a particular example, she can have a look at it and answer it directly, because it's, I exactly don't know which particular point you're talking about. Also, with the dashboard change and the views from the historic views, as we mentioned in the first message that went out, the historic views do take a bit of time to get synced in. So if you're talking about views and data from before 2018, or like before September, October 2018, it might take a bit of time as well. Jane saying, I had 2,000 views and now it's just over 300 since I joined in November. Surely I'm not that self-obsessed to click through that many times. I'm not exactly. If you can send through that information in a separate email chain, it would be helpful so that I can actually place it in context. I'm not sure exactly from that comment. I'm not sure what exactly the problem would be. Jel is saying the last 10 days have been flat on dashboard. Again, it's difficult to answer that from here. If there's no views and no profile views and no impressions and all that, then there might be an issue. But maybe just send an email through to help with the screenshot, and then we can have a look. Robin saying views have gone down from 300 a day to 3. Again, are you talking about profile views, Robin, or is that artwork views? I'm not entirely sure. No, we definitely, Robin saying no one seems to believe us that it's not working. Robin, we definitely believe that there might be some issue, but it's difficult to know what exactly is just from one piece of information. So just put everything in one proper email. If you have screenshots, or if you can send screenshots, that really helps, so we know exactly which kind of views you're talking about. I can loop in Melissa. She's much more equipped to answer these questions than I am, but we'd love to get to the bottom of this. We know how important stats are for artists. Without these statistics, it's really difficult for you guys to know what's working, what's not. So we would love to fix that as soon as we can.
And I saw you guys talk in the artist group about how you all lost Instagram followers, and the same thing happened to us. Yeah. It's annoying.
Deborah Dixon saying there are a lot of views showing on the artwork page, but does not match on the dashboard on a daily basis. Deborah, that might be an issue because the artwork views that you see on the artwork page are live, and the dashboard, because it collates a lot of different data from different artwork pages and profiles, it might take a bit of time for it to update altogether. So that might be the difference. But over 2 or 3 days, if it's not matching up, then there might be an issue that we can fix. I don't think it's come up for a lot of artists. So if you guys are actually facing that, just send it through with screenshots, and like maybe take an example. So maybe one artwork has 3,000 views on the artwork page, but it doesn't have those views on your dashboard. That will give us one particular example to look through, so we can actually go down in depth and see where it's not working. Deborah is saying that no, there is a very big difference. It never catches up. Okay, cool. In that case, just maybe take one artwork as an example and just send the data for both of them through to help. And I'll tag in Melissa, and we can get back to that. If a few of you are having that issue together, so when, say, for example, we leave it for 24 hours, we'll get all the emails, and then we'll sort of collate all the data, and I can give you guys a collective answer rather than sending individually to each of you. We'll just email all of you guys. Jillian saying, yes, it never catches up. I would be really interested to see particular examples, because I haven't dived into particular artworks and their views and how it matches up with the dashboard. So I would be really interested to see. Okay.
I just wanted to say as well, we're going to share that that presentation doc. So underneath here, we'll share it in the description, and you'll be able to download it or have a look at it. And we'll put it in the artist newsletter next week as well. So you can, just for the reminder, and if you want to click through to any of those links.
Cool. I think there was one more question about Instagram somewhere, but I think I've lost it. Cool. Guys, about the dashboard and the views, it will be really helpful if you can put all that information in emails and send it to us. It's really difficult to gather any data that you're providing on the chat and work with that. So if you can put all that information with examples in an email, just send it through to help, and we'll get onto it as soon as we can. Cool. We might leave the video running if you guys still want to chat. New artwork. How do you? Gail McKenzie is asking, how do you select what gets posted? Gail, are you talking about Instagram or are you talking about the site itself? If you're talking about Instagram, it is completely curated by our team. So our team picks up the artworks based on the themes and whatever is sort of in whatever is ongoing at this point. And on Bluethumb, it's automatic and it's chronological. So when you post something, it goes onto the new feed directly anyway.
Crunkle's trying to get back in the room.
The dog's scratching on the door.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you for listening to me rattle on. Thank you, Jane.
Cool. Gail, maybe just use the chat feature and talk to us, and then we can walk you through. It might be a bit easier to understand what's happening with your artworks. Cool. All right, guys. Yeah, we'll put the dogs back on. Oh, no, we won't put them here. I think they're both scratching on the door.
They're coming.
Oh, they can come.
Come on, Grunge. Come on, let's say goodbye to everyone. Here he is. Okay, bye-bye.
But please do send the information about the dashboard with examples so we can actually look into particular examples on what's happening because that issue is something that I'd really love to get sorted as soon as we can. Thank you, and cool. All right, sorry, I'm just reading the comments. All right,
thanks so much, guys. Have a good week.
For everything, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. All right.
Bye.
Bye. It takes a couple of seconds to stop the broadcast, so we'll have to say live a few times.